Nothing scares me more than when someone goes missing and obviously foul play was involved, but over time, disturbing proof is found that they could still be out there somewhere alive. In this case, a little girl gets abducted from her home in the middle of the night. After multiple sightings of her with unknown people, 911 would receive a frantic phone call a year later claiming to be this little girl. She would scream for help, and a man would be heard yelling at her in the background before the line goes dead. This is what happened to 9-year-old Anthonette Cayedito, and that last phone call from her will forever haunt me. In the early morning hours of April 6, 1986, Anthonette would be woken up by a knock on her front door. She lived with her mom Penny and her two sisters Wendy and Sadie in Gallup, New Mexico. Anthonette was described as wise beyond her years. She loved school and Bible studies, and being the oldest, she loved taking care of her two little sisters. So when the knock woke her up that fateful morning, she opened the door, and after doing so, she mysteriously disappeared. That night, Penny was out having fun at a local bar, and all three girls were at home with a babysitter. She got home around midnight, sent the babysitter home, and then went to bed. According to Penny, when she woke up at 7 the next morning to get the girls ready for Bible school, Anthonette was nowhere to be found. After searching everywhere she could think of and talking to all of the neighbors, Penny reported her missing to the Gallup Police Department. I know this was a different time, but it took police 4 days just to officially search Anthonette's home, which is crazy considering the fact that a little girl's life was on the line. Authorities began searching the entire neighborhood, but no trace of Anthonette was found, and it was literally like she vanished into thin air. While police were at the home, a family member brought up a man named Emiliano who went by Emo. It was only then that Penny told police that in the days leading up to Anthonette's disappearance, Emo gave her flowers on 3 separate occasions. From what I can find, Emo wasn't a complete stranger to the family though. Penny's best friend was named Ronald, and I guess Ronald introduced Emo to the family. Not long after this introduction, the two would frequent Anthonette's house and often give her flowers. It's important to note that according to the family, Emo was never at the house without Ronald, but on the night of Anthonette's disappearance, he came alone. He once again brought Anthonette some flowers, and this time he also brought her a bear necklace. This was seen by multiple people who gave the same statements to police after Anthonette disappeared. So this obviously seemed like a good lead, so the police then interviewed Emo, who denied having anything to do with her disappearance. He reportedly took a polygraph test, and although the results are unknown, I'm assuming he must have passed because he was never named a suspect or person of interest. Police then began interviewing neighbors and really anyone in the area that might have any information, and this is when they met a man named Ron Perry. Ron came forward and told police that at around 3:30 the morning Anthonette disappeared, he went to the home and knocked on the front door and window trying to get Penny's attention. I guess the two had gotten into a fight at the bar and he wanted to see if she was okay. I don't know for sure if Penny ever spoke with him or not, but shortly after this he left and stayed the night at a friend's house down the road, and authorities were able to confirm his story by interviewing his friend. Without any leads to go on, Anthonette's case started to go cold, but then a series of possible sightings started to happen that would reignite the case. On April 8th, 1986, just 2 days after Anthonette disappeared, a man reported seeing her on the side of the road in San Antonio. She was wearing a long pink dress and was with a blonde-haired woman. It's never been officially confirmed if that was truly her, but the man was adamant that it was. On April 19th, a woman spotted a suspicious brown truck at a Thriftway gas station. As the truck passed, the woman could hear a little girl screaming, "Help me." And although she didn't actually see the girl, she believes that it could have been Anthonette. Then 2 months later, on June 30th, a man reported seeing Anthonette at a bus depot in El Paso, Texas. He said that she was wearing a long pink dress, which is exactly what the first witness said, but this time she had white shoes on. He also said that the girl had a noticeable mark on her cheek, and Anthonette did have a scar in that exact same place. I think out of all the sightings of her, the 911 call that the Gallup PD would receive a year after Anthonette's disappearance is the most chilling of all. It came out of the blue, and it was of a little girl claiming to be Anthonette. She said she was in Albuquerque, and she's then interrupted by a man screaming, quote, "Who said you could use the phone?" End quote. You can then hear a struggle ensue and the little girl screaming before the line went dead. I'm gonna play the recording now, and it is truly disturbing, so I'd skip this part if you don't want to hear it.
Police Department. Hello. I'm Anthonette Cayedito. I'm in Albuquerque. Okay, whereabouts in Albuquerque? Who said he could use a phone? Hello? Anthonette, where are you? Anthonette? Hello?
So keep in mind, this was an entire year after Anthonette's disappearance, and outside of the few possible sightings of her, there had been no leads in her case up until this point. The 911 call was shown to Penny, who confirmed that it was Anthonette speaking, but she didn't recognize the man's voice. Based on this phone call, it really seemed like Anthonette was still alive, but police couldn't trace the call, and her case would soon go cold once again. Then 4 years later, a waitress at a restaurant in Carson City, Nevada reported having a weird interaction with a strange family at one of her tables. According to her, she said she saw a teenage girl matching Anthonette's description to a T, but she was with an unkempt couple. The young girl kept knocking her utensils on the ground, and it seemed as though she was trying to get the waitress's attention. When the waitress would pick up the utensils and give them back to the girl would squeeze her hand really tightly. After the family left, as the waitress was cleaning up their table, she found a napkin with a note on it under the girl's plate. The note read, quote, "Help me. Call the police." End quote. By the time authorities were notified, the family was gone and they've never been found or identified. On the 5-year mark of Anthonette's disappearance, police began looking into her case to see if they missed any crucial pieces of information. They decided to re-interview the family, and this is when Anthonette's younger sister, Wendy, who was 5 at the time of her disappearance, dropped a major bombshell on the investigation. Wendy tells police that on the night Anthonette went missing, she actually witnessed her being abducted. She said that someone knocked on the door, and when Anthonette answered and asked who was there, a man responded, "Uncle Joe." She was then grabbed by 2 men, and as she was kicking and screaming to let her go, the men forced her into a brown van and drove away. When asked why she never said anything about this before, Wendy said that she kept this hidden because she didn't see the men's faces and didn't know who they were, and she was also scared that she would upset her mom. She said that she didn't think anyone would believe her because she was only 5 at the time. It was around this time that Penny was re-interviewed by the FBI, and this time, her story changed as well. This time, Penny said that this knock on the door happened around 3:30 that morning, and I'm not sure if this is because she was tired or had been out drinking, but she told Anthonette to go and open the door. Penny then laid there for about 30 minutes waiting for Anthonette to come back, but she never did. And when she got up to look for her and realized she was gone, that's when she knew that she was missing. But the story differs entirely from what she told police back when it happened. The day Anthonette disappeared, she told police that she woke up at 7 a.m. to find her missing, and she never once mentioned anything about making her get up to go answer the door in the middle of the night. So she either lied back then or when she was interviewed 5 years later. Another thing is that she told police that this happened around 3:30 that morning, but if you remember, Ron Perry went to the house and had actually knocked on her door around that time, yet he didn't see anything out of the ordinary. So the timing of this doesn't make sense to me. It's also strange that not a single neighbor or even Penny herself heard Anthonette screaming as she was being abducted that night. I know that some people are heavy sleepers, but it's just weird to me that not one single person heard this happening. According to the FBI report from Penny's interview in 1994, she almost basically confessed to being responsible and planning Anthonette's disappearance. This was from the report, but she goes on to ask the FBI what would happen if she and Emo had something to do with it. She said how Anthonette was starting to be a troublemaker and that she wanted a better life for her, and Emo said that he would be the one to take her. This would kind of make sense to me considering he was grooming Anthonette with all the flowers and necklaces he gave to her. I don't care who you are to the family, a grown man acting that way with a little girl is a major red flag, especially when it's isolated to just one child and not all of the kids. Despite this confession, nothing ever came of it, and Penny was never charged or named an official person of interest in her daughter's disappearance. Authorities do believe that she knew more than she was letting on though, and could have possibly been involved. But Penny died in 1999, and whatever secrets she may have known went with her. Anthonette's dad, who wasn't really in the picture, also died as well in 2012. To this day, it's not known what happened to Anthonette. Some believe that this is a clear case of homicide, while others believe that this was either a random or targeted abduction. Some believe that this could be a human trafficking case, and with all of the sightings of her, as well as that eerie 911 call, this could sadly be a true possibility. I'm not sure if this is related, but I also wanted to add that 3 years after Anthonette disappeared, her 25-year-old aunt also went missing, but she was found alive a month later. I wanted to mention this because there are people who believe that the two cases could be connected. Her family has continued to look for her even today because there is a real possibility that she is out there alive somewhere. But to them, and without answers, she is forever frozen in time as a 9-year-old little girl. It's now been 38 years, and whatever happened to Anthonette that night remains a mystery.